Hey champions, so today's video is going to be a long one. I apologize for that uphand. I wanted to take a moment to just reflect and reminisce and tell you the entire story on how Alpha came to be. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get to it. Hey champions, I wanted to spend a little bit of time today reminiscing on what's happening with the what happened in Alpha, what happened in the early days back in 2015. Give you a bit of an origin story, let's say, to the game as a whole, because someone asked me about why did we call Alpha Alpha, and was it really an appropriate name for that set. So I figured while I do that, I'll throw up some photos as well from those really early days and kind of walk things through, tell you where we're at. So that's not the photo I was expecting to show up. Let's put this up instead. That was a cool animation of Tsunami though. But let's talk about the really early days back in 2015 when I started designing this. So what happened was, I'd been working on Genesis, or Origins as it was called in those days, for nearly a decade already, and a lot of my love and passion for the industry went into the game, and I was really excited about the project. However, there was no intention of ever taking Origins to the market. That's not the way I designed it. I designed it as a game for me and my friends to play, for me to practice some of those core skills that I needed for growth as a game designer, but it was never it was never designed to be a product to have real booster packs and real expect people to spend real money on. It was just supposed to be a print and play game, and that's how it ran for years. That's how we played it. But what happened in 2015? That was around the time my wife, now wife at the time, girlfriend, she was going off to teachers college, and I went from seeing her every single day to only seeing her occasionally on the weekends. And I needed to find something to do with my spare time after work. And that's when I started designing. I took Origins and moved it over to Genesis. So I remember sitting with Lionel. It was early September, and we're sitting on my parents' porch. And I was like, hey, do you want to start a gaming company with me? Do you want to bring, start a publishing company and bring our own game to market? And he's like, yeah, let's do this. I was like, all right, we'll start planning it. And the first game we started working on was a game called Odyssey. It was not a TCG. It was actually a deck builder game, a dungeon crawler deck builder. So you had a hero, you fought monsters, you gained experience points, which allowed you to go to a shop and purchase cards, and that was the deck building experience. And you could trade in cards to upgrade to better cards. Really, really cool concept. Loved it. Maybe one day we'll go back and continue designing it. But it just kept on hitting moments where we're just like, we weren't enjoying it. We weren't pushing ourselves to keep on making the game better. And I couldn't figure out why. And I sat down with one of my friends, Ahmad, who some of you may have talked to. He has been a childhood friend of mine since, oh my goodness, like pre-kindergarten. No, I met him in kindergarten. That's when his family moved closer to the area. But my family had known his family since they immigrated to Canada. And at that time, Ahmad had successfully started up his own company. He had created a company around a mobile app called One Set. He also was premiered on, I want to say, Dragon's Den? I don't know which one's the Canadian one, Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, but whichever one, he was on there, and he actually got funding through that. So I sat down with him and talked to him about what it's like to start up a company. And one of the things he talked about was passion in your product. Make sure that whatever you're designing, whatever you're building, is something you're truly passionate about. And that's when I mentioned to him, I'm like, yeah, in the back burner, we have this project called Origins. And I told him about the history and all the design that went into it. And he's like, that's the game you should be making. That's the one you should be trying to sell. So then we had to redesign the entire game to be marketable. that could actually I was emotionally comfortable with the idea of people spending real world dollars to buy this product. And at that time, we were trying to figure out kind of how do we do this and what does the game represent. And one of the things we talked about was the idea that if I could do it once, I can do it again. It doesn't make sense to create life. I mean, that's one of the alchemy codes from Full Metal Alchemist, right? That you cannot create life. You cannot create a soul. So there was a lot of ideas that we're trying to come across. And that's where that photo that I put up, and let me bring that back again. That's where this version of Genesis came from. Was as a champion, you didn't have creatures in your deck. You started the game off with creatures on the board, and there was a lot more intricacies with the game. We took this game back in 2015 out for playtesting. I think it was 2015 or 2016. I can't remember exactly. And we went to go take it to playtest, and we playtested it at face-to-face games in Toronto and ANC cards in downtown Toronto. So face-to-face is in East York, and ANC was in downtown. And we got a lot of feedback. A lot of people really enjoyed it. But the thing that was interesting to me was a lot of the critiques people had about the game were things that we actually had in the game when it was Origins. Things like the cheese system, like deck building. Things like the resource system that we had. A lot of the stuff that makes Genesis really unique. People are like, oh, why don't you try implementing this? Why don't you try that? And then we realized Origins was a really solid game. It just needed a little bit of tweaking on the booster pack side of it. So we made the big change of bringing in the affiliations and making it that champions were dual affiliated. So here's a photo of actually me and Lionel and Arthur, who Arthur was our original art director. The three of us at ANC Cards right after our playtesting session. So I have that poster up in my room. I could probably figure out the date from there, but this like you can see how long ago I had hair. Like that's how long ago it is. So this is definitely before me getting married, because I shaved my head on my honeymoon. That was one of the things I did, was I shaved my head for the first time, and then came back from the honeymoon, and my family laughed at me hysterically. But this was a long time ago. We did that playtesting. We knew we were on the right track when it came to Origins. So then we started designing Alpha. And this was, we changed it to it was called Genesis. We had Alpha set. And that's when we started commissioning a lot more artwork. We started getting the game together. And our whole entire idea for the game was we would make 30 copies of those original Alpha Star kits. The one I have in that back corner. We made 30 copies of those. There's 31 out there, but we made 30. So at that time, the game was just sitting on Game Crafter, and someone bought a starter kit. So that's why there's 31. We made 30 copies. We brought it to SkyCon, and we honestly, the strategy at that time was that we would bring this to market, get people to try it, give us their feedback, see what they like, what they didn't, and how could we refine the game. And then from there, we would take a year to fully finish designing the game, and then we would bring it to market the year after. So 1 year later was our goal for the real release of Genesis. So the alpha product was truly an alpha experiment. It was our first time bringing a semi-finished product, or in this case, like it was finished enough that we're willing to sell it, bring it to market, and tell people, next year we'll have the actual product. However, much to our surprise, as it's been time and time again, there's so much more love for this game than we ever anticipated. And we ended up selling those 30 copies between that weekend and the days following. I was done all 30 copies. We dropped off 2 copies of the game at ANC Cards. One of them was purchased. The last one was sitting on the shelf. And I remember talking to the manager and saying, hey, do you know that's the last copy of our first print of the Alpha Starter Kits? He's like, do you want it back? I was like, no, you can sell it. I just want you to know that it's kind of an historical item. And he was like, in that case, you should have it. And insisted to give it back to me. I think on their end, they're like, this product's never going to sell. What's the point of holding on to it? It's probably just a waste of their shelf space. And I'm happy I took it back, because honestly, if they didn't give that back to me, I would never have a sealed copy of this Alpha Starter Kit. That was it. But the thing I really loved about the alpha product, and this is the thing that I've been promoting throughout the entire Kickstarter campaign, the entire history of Genesis, is that people actually played the game. People opened up the alpha product. No one got the original alpha booster packs or like, I'm gonna hold on to I'm gonna hoard this forever. There were, like, my sister-in-law has one of the alpha booster packs still set aside, and she also has one of the original alpha starter kits set aside. But that's because she was so proud that I brought this game to market that she wanted to hold on to it, hold on to a sealed copy. And that's why, like, I love the fact that a lot of people who were there in the early days, if they were to open an alpha pack now, they would just enjoy the process of opening an alpha pack and seeing those cards again. It has very little to do with the, looking to resell it or stuff like that. It's just that experience of being part of that history. And that was the thing I loved about the early alpha days. No one looked at this as a collectible item. No one looked at it as something they wanted to hold on to forever. It was purely a product that people just wanted to play. People wanted to compete. I missed actually a big chunk of the story. So after, literally the day of the ANC playtesting, Lionel was going to stay a few extra days at my place, and we were just going to relax, hang out, review all of our testing notes and everything. And that was the time where we started getting the first words that my mom wasn't feeling well. She was rushed to the hospital that day. I remember calling her afterwards, and she was like, "Oh, how's your day?" And I told her about testing and everything. I was like, "How's your day?" She's like, "I've been in the hospital all day." I was like, "What? What's going on?" She's like, "I don't know yet. The doctors will let us know." But, and then she's like, "Don't worry about it." But then I turned to Lionel. I was like, "Can you bring me back home?" I didn't have a car at this time. And Lionel was staying with me, and he had a car. So I told Lionel, "Can you just take me back home?" So he ended up taking me back home and talking to my mom. And then slowly over time, we found out, she had cancer, and it was stage 4 already. And we dealt with a lot of that. I stopped working on Genesis. At this time, Arthur and we weren't talking very often because Genesis as a project was put on hold. And during the time my mom was sick, I left my old job to help take care of her. And when I went back to the working world, I wanted to go back into healthcare. At that time, I had started in healthcare. I stopped doing that. I went to help a company who facilitated other small startups on getting their tech out there or getting their website together or whatever they needed. And that was an amazing experience. I learned a lot. A lot of what I did for designing Genesis came from ideas that they taught me. And then, but when my mom got sick, I wanted to go back into the healthcare space. So I went back to the healthcare space and I kept Genesis on hold for a very, very long time. And my mom passed away. I eventually, a lot of personal stuff happened. Eventually, over time, that itch came back to go back and work on Genesis. Contacted Arthur. We started working on it again. And it was actually about a month before SkyCon. A month and a half before SkyCon, I heard about it. And I reached out to Rob Morris, who was running the event, said, "Hey, I got a game in the works. I wanted to debut it at SkyCon. Is that okay?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And we talked a lot about it. He seemed very passionate about it. And then I rushed really hard to get the alpha product together, that first starter kits together. And we ended up doing a bunch of test print runs, and that's where the pre-alpha stuff comes from. It was originally supposed to launch saying "Welcome to J. Lara" as the first set. But when I realized what we were doing and how we were building the game, it didn't feel right to call that first product "Welcome to J. Lara." We rebranded it as Alpha, saying that this product is incomplete. It is still in the woodwork. We just want to show people what we have so far. This is the Alpha product. And that's where the pre-alpha stuff comes from. It is the original alpha stuff, just says JAE on the bottom instead of APH. And then we started producing all of the alpha stuff. We went to SkyCon, did really well. Shortly after SkyCon, a lot of people started reaching out to me about, "Hey, We want to keep on playing the game. You gave us this great product, but now after SkyCon, there's no one to play with anymore. So we started hosting events at Forbes Hobbies, and there was so many people were looking for new cards or more cards, and that's when we started putting together the initial booster packs. So we had a few artworks done between the printing of Alpha starter kits and the first event at Forbes that we made the initial 11 booster packs. So it had all the cards from the starter kit, and it also had a chance of having some new cards like Meteorite, like Guardian Balance, Libraries of Sahas. These were the end cap of the 2017 print run. Then in 2018, we kept on adding more cards. The game design team expanded. Carl joined at that time. He was the first person to join on the game design side. Eventually, Rob Morris joined. And then Lionel joined. And then the four of us kept on working on the game with some mentorship and other people involved. And we kept on releasing more and more cards. Alpha was more or less finished at this time, but there were some revisions that they wanted to make. Pressure Point definitely changed as a card because of them. Flight changed as a mechanic. What it was called in Alpha got changed in Beta, because I think in Alpha it was just called Flight, and then in Beta it got split to Flight and Aerial as two separate mechanics, because that way the Flight mechanic and Flight card could be parallel in functionality. But the initial designs of Alpha more or less stayed the same. As we got more and more art, we kept on releasing a new wave of booster packs, which had new cards included in it. I don't have that list anywhere. I don't know what each pack had and what made them new. All I know is the last rare to get artwork was Vampiricus. That was the last card to get its artwork. So it only appeared in the final booster packs that had the entire print run of the set. And it was near the end where we actually got the last 4 champions in, because Arthur was supposed to do all 8 champions, but because of work and other things, he only did the initial 4. He could never get around to doing the next 4. And then we met Demyan. Demyan joined. He did a great job, and we asked him to redo the original 4 and then start conceptualizing the next 4, and he ended up finishing off all the champions, but that was near the end of Alpha. Actually, it was so close to the end of Alpha that we actually had to create a champion pack, which was all 8 champion cards, and we gave these away to Forbes and Heads or Tails to then give to players. So the those all 8 champions, there's 2 printing of them. One of them that's done more like how our promos are done, and one of them done inside the Alpha booster packs. So that was Alpha. That was the entire story and the saga that made Alpha as a set. I'm sorry that this video went a little bit long. I hope you enjoyed hearing that story. There's a lot more nuance that happened in between, a lot more little things that happened along the lines. But I think that's more of a detailed story than I've ever given about that journey. It was intense. It was very long. I remember, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to, let me know. What was your favorite part about that video? Did you know this stuff? How much of this is new? And, I would love to hear more feedback from you on, even if this was something you enjoyed, if this was something you didn't enjoy, let me know. So I can just have that feedback. I want to know from you, the community, what you like and what you dislike about my content. But that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. The Genesis Origins Kickstarter is live. Details are in the description below. As I close off this video, I want to remind you to support your local game stores. They are the backbone of the hobby industry. Also, please follow our partner content creators. They are working very hard to make content that you are interested in. So check out our playlist of videos made by them and like and subscribe to their channels. Finally, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Without you, this game would not be where it is today. Thank you for being so awesome, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.